Imagine a peaceful mountain enclave thrown into chaos by a single power-hungry HOA president. Meet Vincent Forrester, a snowplow operator who plunged headfirst into a legal battle when Patricia Whitmore's new rules threatened neighbors' safety. Watch as a brutal winter storm, blocked roads, stolen fees, and a community uprising collide in a true tale of justice won the hard way. If you love stories of small-town drama, resilience, and vindication, like and subscribe for more. My name is Vincent Forrester. For the last decade and a half, I've run a modest snow removal operation just outside Boulder, Colorado. Nothing elaborate, just me, my trusty plow truck, and a dozen homeowners who depend on me when the Rockies dump 3 feet of snow in a single night. Back in 2011, I bought 2 acres on Meadowbrook Lane, built a detached garage for my equipment, and settled into a laid-back neighborhood where folks checked on each other and the HOA existed in name only. Old Mr. Henderson handled the paperwork over coffee at his kitchen table, and we all ignored picky details like fence heights or mailbox colors. Out here, practicality ruled. Then 3 years ago, Mr. Henderson died, and Patricia Whitmore moved into the big house at the top of the hill. At 52, she had a hefty divorce settlement and zero patience for lax maintenance. Within 6 months, she'd charmed or pressured enough homeowners to elect her as HOA president, promising to raise property values and install standards befitting a premier mountain community. Few questioned her tactics. Most of the old-timers simply stayed away. Her first round of rules was cosmetic, limits on holiday lights, tidier lawns, annoying but not disastrous. Year 2, she banned commercial vehicles from driveways overnight. I shifted my plow truck behind my garage, out of sight, and kept working. Then this winter, everything unraveled. December storms slammed us with nearly 3 feet of snow in 2 days. My phone buzzed nonstop, calls from seniors hoping to get to doctors, parents worried about stranded kids, delivery drivers blocked by drifts. I ran my plow from dawn to dusk, carving paths through every street in Pine Ridge while orange lights spun. The next morning, I found a note tucked under my wiper blade. Mr. Forrester, commercial vehicles need HOA approval. Submit an application immediately. I crumpled it and pressed on. Mrs. Chen, 3 doors down, needed dialysis. Paperwork could wait. A day later, there was another warning. Final notice. Unauthorized business activity on HOA streets will lead to fines and legal action. I peeled it off, disgusted. That night, I showed up at Patricia's living room, her new HOA meeting venue with vaulted ceilings and a gas fireplace. About a dozen people gathered, mostly newcomers. All the old guard had given up. When she announced unauthorized commercial vehicle operation, she pointed right at me. I still wore my work boots and fleece. These are public roads, I said. The county plows them and I live here. I'm not trespassing on HOA property. She adjusted her glasses. Our dues pay to maintain these streets. You drive a heavy truck and causeware. Under Section 12.4 of our CC&Rs, we can regulate commercial traffic that damages infrastructure. Your truck qualifies. I wasn't at that vote, I protested. Absentee ballots default to the majority, she replied briskly. Then she slid a permit application across the coffee table. $500 a month plus a $2,000 deposit, or you face a $100 fine every time you operate in the neighborhood and will place liens on your property. That room went silent. Even Patricia's allies looked uneasy. I left without saying more. Back home, I stared at the pile of bills on my kitchen table, legal advice, parts for the truck, insurance. An extra $6,000 a year would kill me. The next morning, I left at 4:30. Another 8 inches of fresh powder lay on the roads. I was halfway to Mrs. Chen's house when I saw Patricia's Mercedes parked sideways, hazard lights on, blocking Meadowbrook Lane. She held her phone like she was live streaming. I rolled down my window. "You're in violation," she shouted. "I'm issuing a fine, $100 right now." "Mrs. Chen needs her driveway clear," I answered. "She can hire someone else or fill out a hardship form. Our next meeting is in March, Patricia said, voice cold. I sat idling for a minute, torn. Every instinct told me to plow ahead, but I knew she had the power to bankrupt me if I defied her. I threw it into reverse and went home. By 8 o'clock, my phone lit up with frantic calls, neighbors desperate for help, some willing to meet me outside the HOA boundary so I could clear their driveways, others furious that I gave up. Mrs. Chen was on the verge of tears, her dialysis transportation canceled. The Robinsons begged for just a shove of snow so their son could leave for work. I had to tell them all the same thing. I couldn't bring my truck onto HOA streets. Word spread fast. Vincent can't work in Pine Ridge anymore. Patricia's social circle buzzed with rumors that I was arrested or banned for good. I shifted focus to clients outside the HOA, but the guilt ate at me every time I packed up and drove away. Then early January brought the big one, a weather warning for 4 feet of snow, sub-zero temps, drifting winds. While the county scrambled main roads, Pine Ridge's private streets sat buried under 5-foot drifts. I blasted out at 4, clearing every driveway I could reach, but I left the interior streets alone, my moratorium still in effect. When I staggered home at midnight, my own driveway was impassable again. At 6, a call woke me. Susan Montgomery from the school district. The bus driver couldn't reach any children on Meadowbrook or side streets. The county only handles primary routes, I said. She needs the HOA. They said you're the contractor, Montgomery replied. Try Patricia Whitmore. She wasn't answering her phone. Calls from the county, the medical supply company, the mail carrier all pinged my inbox. The HOA had collected $60 a household per month for snow removal that they never contracted. Patricia had driven me out, and no other company would touch her erratic demands. Now neighbors were trapped, kids missing school, seniors running low on meds. Old Tom Webster called. Vince, this is beyond your fight with Patricia. People are in danger. You need to clear those streets. I hesitated. Lying notices and fines danced through my mind. But when Tom described the oxygen-dependent woman on Pine Ridge Court, I knew I couldn't back down. I grabbed my keys and fired up the plow. Meadowbrook looked like jagged waves of ice and snow. I eased forward, blade down, carving a lane wide enough for buses and ambulances. One street at a time, I worked through the neighborhood. Residents came out, bundled and grateful, offering hot coffee and homemade cookies. I refused payments. This was about safety, not profit. Halfway through Pine Ridge Court, Patricia's Mercedes screeched around a corner, horn blaring. She jumped out, phone raised. You're trespassing, that's another fine. Send it, I said. I'm helping people you abandoned. Where's the service you promised? You're property damaging, she sputtered. Then she dialed 911. A deputy arrived 40 minutes later, too late to stop me. He listened to Patricia's complaint, glanced at the cleared streets and sighed. I can't enforce HOA rules on public roads, he told her. This is civil, not criminal. Then he turned to me. Unofficially, thanks for your work. Officially, try not to antagonize HOA presidents. Patricia seethed as he drove off. By that afternoon, the bus ran its route again, mail got delivered, and Mrs. Chen's oxygen tank was swapped. Yet my mailbox filled with certified letters, fines for every street, late fees, lien notices. I consulted an attorney, $200 for a meeting, and learned that suing to contest her rules would cost thousands and drag on for years. The HOA's lien was valid, and the fines would mount. I was trapped. February storms piled on more snow. I refused to clear another home in the HOA, even when neighbors begged. Patricia had won. Her rules forced me out. The school district pulled bus service, insisting that parents escort kids to the main road. Medical responders began turning down Pine Ridge calls. Fire and EMS sent a warning. Emergency access was no longer guaranteed. Property values plummeted. 2 houses listed for sale in March got no offers. Then came a late-season April snowstorm just before Easter. Patricia fled to Cabo, posting beach selfies while her community labored under drifts. That's when Tom Webster called a special meeting and demanded to see the HOA's books. Patricia refused, adjourned the meeting, and vanished. We filed a police report. Investigators traced her to Phoenix, where she rented a condo under her maiden name. They discovered she'd siphoned over $47,000 from HOA accounts, fake invoices, phantom bills, phantom contractors. She was arrested on theft and embezzlement charges, a Class 3 felony in Colorado. I testified at her preliminary hearing, explaining how her rules had endangered neighbors and destroyed my business. Her lawyer argued HOA matters were civil, but the judge saw a scheme to defraud and a pattern of deception. Patricia's trial in September ended in a guilty verdict. In October, she received 6 years in prison, ordered to repay $47,000 in restitution, and permanently banned from any HOA board. The HOA itself dissolved. The county resumed regular plowing of the main roads, and homeowners managed their own driveways. Most of my old clients returned by the following winter. Mrs. Chen's daughter wept with relief when I cleared her late fall snowfall. The Robinsons doubled my fee just to apologize for not standing by me sooner. Tom hosted a barbecue in July on his patio. No HOA, no rules, just neighbors sharing burgers and laughter. Someone joked about electing me HOA president of a dissolved association. I declined, happy that no one had to vote. 2 years later, I ran into Patricia in a Boulder coffee shop. She was wearing a retail uniform and looked decades older. "Vince," she whispered, "I owe you and everyone else an apology. I was wrong." I nodded. "You were, but the neighborhood is better without you." She left, defeated. I never saw her again. Now I still live on Meadowbrook Lane. I still start at 4:30 when storms roll through. I still drive the truck with orange lights and a sharp blade, but nobody questions my presence. Neighbors call me because they trust me, not because a clipboard-wielding president demands it. Schools, medics, mail carriers, all have reliable access. Property values have rebounded. Pine Ridge is once again a place where people help one another without bureaucracy or greed. Sometimes I wonder if I'd paid Patricia's extortion fees, $6,000 a year, would all this have been avoided? No. Tyrants only grow bolder when you yield. By refusing to comply, I forced her opacity into the open. It was painful. Neighbors suffered. I took a financial hit. But the end result, an honest community unbowed by petty rules, is worth every hardship. My business has grown into 3 counties. I bought a second truck and hired 2 part-time helpers. We never advertise. Word of mouth brings enough work. Clients appreciate that I value service over contracts. Mrs. Chen passed away last spring at 92. Her daughter thanked me for those plowed driveways, meant independence and dignity to her mother. I learned that helping others pays a deeper reward than any HOA fee ever could. When new families moved into Pine Ridge's empty homes, they were relieved to find no HOA waiting to impose its will. They saw neighbors cooperating, not litigating. They saw school buses rolling through side streets again. They saw a community bound by trust, not bylaws. That's the secret. The best neighborhoods thrive on mutual aid, not on rules dictated by a clipboard. If anyone ever tries to seize control again, they'll remember Patricia's downfall. Sometimes the greatest resistance is simply refusing to participate and trusting your neighbors to do the same. In Pine Ridge, we learned that lesson the hard way, but we learned it, and we're stronger for it. If you'd like more stories like these, please like and subscribe.